Hi everyone, my name is Chloe and welcome to the start of another vlog style wrap up for this week. So today is Sunday and I think I'm going to start doing vlogs Sunday to Saturday, which you guys won't care at all, but I accidentally did that because yesterday I ended the vlog saying I was definitely not going to finish anything by the end of the day today, and I did. So I finished The Invisible Husband of Frick Island by Colleen Oakley. And this one just came out and the premise sounded so good. So this is about Piper, and Piper's husband is Tom, and Tom is a fisherman, and he goes missing one day and he is presumed dead. His boat comes up, but his body does not. So he is presumed dead. Well, Piper goes on as if he's still there, talks to him like he's still there, does the whole routine, gets his breakfast ready, etc., etc., etc. And Frick Island, you guys, is a tiny town. And it's a tiny town with no technology, no cell service, no internet, like very much kind of just a simpler way of life. I think there's like very few cars even because it's so small. And so she's able to just kind of live in this bubble. And I think there's 90 people on the island, and they all just play along with it. So they talk to Tom, even though he's invisible. So this guy named Anders, he is a journalist on the mainland, and he comes over to Frick Island because every year they have a cakewalk. And I guess a Frick Island cake or something is very well known. And so he comes to cover this cakewalk, and he is a new journalist. He's really struggling to get anything that's not just a fluff piece. So he goes really reluctantly because he gets seasick, and the only way to get there is on a boat. And he gets stuck there because of a storm. So he's really reluctant. But he goes, and he's got this little podcast. And I say little because he gets very few views or listens. And the only person that ever comments is his stepdad. And so he goes and he puts that on the podcast. However, somebody anonymously comments and says, like, you went to Frick Island and missed the biggest story there is. So he had met Piper when he was there the first time, like doing the cakewalk, but he goes back to try to figure out what the story is. And with like rising sea levels, Frick Island is in danger of being underwater here in the next 75 to 100 years. And so he like puts on the guise that that's the story he's wanting to get, but he's really wanting to know more about Piper and her invisible husband. And so the rest of the book is mostly on Anders' story. And that's where I'm like, darn, that was just an expectation issue. So I really expected that we were going to get in with Piper and like find out what happened with her husband, kind of what her mental state was and why, and like kind of dive deep into her. But you guys, I am a women's fiction lover. No shocker that I wanted to follow the woman. So you get both perspectives, and you do get answers to all of that. You find out what happened to her husband. You find out about her mental state. Like you find out what's going on. And so like everything I wanted was there, but it was just a different perspective because it was Anders trying to like write this piece and figure out what's going on. And so as he is doing this, he's updating the podcast, and his podcast is growing huge. Like he's finally getting the notoriety he wants and the recognition. And so at what cost though? And as he starts to fall for Piper, he really starts to think about what cost. And so this was really sweet, really intriguing. I don't have a whole lot of complaints about it, except that, like I said, I wish it would have been more from Piper's perspective, but that's just a personal preference thing. Otherwise, I thought it was pretty good. The ending was a little bit like kind of lackluster, but that's okay. And this book ends in a happy for now, which I don't think is a spoiler to say it's a happy for now. And I wish there were more of those. I wish there were more of those because this is a romance. And I almost like, as I was reading, I was like, is this going to be a romance? Is it going to be just a contemporary? Like what's going to happen? And I love the happy for now. So if you don't, and you want that like neatly tied happily ever after, this may not be the book for you, but it was a fun ride. And like part of me really was craving Frick Island. And today is May 30th. And so I'm counting this kind of as my Chick Lit-a-thon dream destination, because the idea of going to an island where there's only like 90 people, nothing there, no technology, no cell phones, so nobody knew about this podcast there on Frick Island. And so just knowing, having that isolation, I would love it for about 36 hours and then I would go bananas. But right now my life is like so chaotic that I'm like, gosh, that sounds actually really nice to go unplug. So that's kind of a short-term dream destination, but Chick Little-thon will be over by the time you see this. But so that's it. That is what I just read. And now I picked up something else, but I'll wait to tell you about it because I have not gotten very far into it. So I will tell you about it when I finish it. Hey everyone, it is Monday. It is Memorial Day, so happy Memorial Day if you celebrate. I'm so thrown off today because we are not having Memorial Day barbecue weather. It is like 50 degrees, drizzly, kind of weird. So we're definitely not going to barbecue, and we're just kind of making it a lazy day, and that feels really good. This was the perfect time for a long weekend. Like, I just kind of needed this. So as far as reading goes, I finished Her by Harriet Lane. And I am going to give this 3 stars. It's a weak 3 stars. And this is one that I call like a domestic drama / thriller light. I don't really know what you call it, but in the very beginning, we meet 2 women, Nina and Emma. And Nina runs into Emma and she recognizes her and immediately like starts to kind of infiltrate herself into Emma's life. We know they have a past, like a history, but Emma has no idea who she is and Nina does. And so the rest of the book, they're supposedly about the same age, but Nina has like a 17-year-old daughter and Emma has a young toddler and she's pregnant with their second when the book starts. So Nina also read a lot older. So there's that. That was just like kind of confusing. I had to keep reminding myself this wasn't like a mother-daughter relationship. It was like friends or like they're at the same level. So anyway, it's a thriller-ish, I guess, with Nina just trying to like manipulate her way into Emma's life. And so this one is rated super low on Goodreads, and I was engaged throughout. Luckily, I found it on audio, so that helped, but I was pretty engaged throughout. However, it does go back and forth between their perspectives, and sometimes you would get like word for word the same scene in both perspectives, so that got a little repetitive. But I think the biggest complaints about this book were Nina's motivation for getting into Emma's life and like kind of wanting to seek revenge was super weak. And it was just kind of like thrown in there at the end, like whatever. And it just, to me, did not seem like the motivation did not justify what she was doing. It was a lot of effort for something somewhat menial. The other thing that I think people don't like about this book, and I kind of agree, the ending is very ambiguous. Like, it's a pretty slow book, I would say. The majority, I mean, it really is just these women like getting to know each other. And I could relate so hard to Emma because Nina steps in and she's like, it's pretty easy to manipulate her way into Emma's life because Emma is just like desperate for help. She's pregnant, she's got this little toddler, and then the baby is born, obviously, but she's just overwhelmed, total mom mode. Like, self-care is not a thing. And Nina's like, well, let me babysit and you guys can go for a date night and that kind of stuff. Like, I could totally relate to Emma, but the majority of the book is just them kind of like their lives becoming intertwined. I had a really hard time buying that Emma never like remembered the connection between the two of them, and like the whole connection was pretty weak and pretty like underexplained, I guess, given that the whole book is about this connection. And then the ending is very ambiguous where it just kind of like ramps up. Like the pacing is so slow, and then the last like few pages, it's so fast, and then it just stops. And I got on Goodreads and saw somebody that like had a question about the ending, and somebody commented like, I think the author just forgot to keep writing. And I think like that's very much how it felt. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend this one, but it wasn't as bad as I thought. So that is it. Today is May 31st, so I haven't read anything since, and I don't think I'm going to, or like if so, I'll just read a little bit because I want to start June fresh. So that is the reading update for today. I will check in next time I finish something. Hey everyone, it is later in the week. I don't even know. It's Wednesday. Today I think is day 2 or 3, and Jeremy left Monday, I guess, of single momming. So that is going on. So that means this last book has taken me a little bit longer than I wanted it to. It was a good book. Like, it was good. That's why I'm saying than I wanted it to. I wanted to read it more than I was able, but it's just a little bit different when you're single mom. And I think all you single moms out there, deserve a medal and more, because it is not easy. So the book that I finished was One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston, and I'm giving this 4 stars. This was really good. It just came out June 1st, and this is a sapphic romance about Jane and August. And so August moves to New York, and because her mom has this like obsession with trying to figure out what happened to her brother. Her brother went missing like a long time ago, and her mom just is trying to figure it all out, to the point that like she is so obsessive and has been so obsessive like August's whole life. And so August goes to New York to just kind of get some space, do her thing. And she knows nobody. So she goes and she answers an ad for a room for rent, and she joins this kind of eclectic group of people that is just so fun. And they become like friends who are family. It's definitely a great found family book. And the representation in this book is perfect. Like, there's trans rep, there's queer rep of all kinds, there's fat rep, there's like, because okay, so August meets this woman named Jane on the subway one day, and they have like this instant connection and whatever. They don't really exchange much information, and then she is surprised, and pleasantly so, when she continues to see Jane on her commute. So Jane is a Asian, I don't know if they said specifically what part of Asia, but an Asian woman, an Asian lesbian woman. And she is literally stuck in the 1970s. And so there's a lot of, not a lot, but a fair amount of discussion about just being both marginalized for sexuality as well as race. And I appreciated that. August is kind of plus size. I think they don't talk a whole lot about her size, just that she's a little bit bigger, and she is bisexual, and whatever. These two have this great connection, and they keep running into each other. But Jane is stuck in the 1970s, meaning she like completely knows nothing beyond 1974 or something. I can't remember what year. And so the rest of the book is them falling in love, as well as August trying to figure out what happened to Jane, because Jane cannot get off the subway. She is literally stuck on the subway in the 1970s. And so it's her figuring out what happened, as well as like how to help her. And because Jane, like, I mean, she can't see any of her friends or family because she's stuck on the subway. So that combined with the found family, combined with all the representation, I thought was just so great, and really like fills a void in what I'm at least reading in literature. I think it was great for that. And I thought the romance was really good. The emotions were good. The connection was great. I don't know, like, so this is like 430 or 40, I don't know how many, it's over 400 pages is my point. And really, I feel like once you hit 400 on a contemporary romance, it's like, I feel like most of those are too long. And I kind of agree on this one. And you guys know that like sci-fi stuff is not my thing. And I feel like at times, the whole time travel situation got to be a little bit much. Not terrible, but just a little bit much. I feel like this just could have used probably about 50 pages of editing. And again, that's just my perspective. The whole story with the mom and the brother, I don't know if it was even necessary, honestly. I feel like it almost made it too neat and pretty, which if you've read this book, you'll kind of know what I'm talking about. But I don't know. I just finished the book, so maybe upon like thinking about it longer, I'll appreciate that storyline more. But I don't know if it really was necessary. I think the rest of it would have been fine without it. So the other thing I didn't love about it is the steamy scenes, of course. I'm just not a fan. It does get pretty graphic, but the emotional connection is well established. This is not like a fast burn physical thing, and it's definitely like a while before they get to that. Emotions are definitely involved. Like, so I appreciated all that. I don't need much graphic detail about steam. So if you like that, I think you will definitely like this one. So overall, it was a really enjoyable read. 4 stars. Check it out. Just came out. Great representation, great love story, great found family. And she works at this little, like, I think it's like a pancake diner or something. And it gave me so many New York vibes. Like, so many New York vibes of just like one of those little diners. Oh, I almost was picturing like the one in Seinfeld, or I mean, just name any like kind of seedy pancake diner. So fun. Loved it. Loved the story. There's like a little storyline with that involved. I really like this book a lot. So definitely check it out. Thank you, Libro FM. This is part of their ALC program. So if you have not heard of Libro FM, I'm sure you have, but it's like Audible, but better because instead of supporting Amazon, you support a local bookstore of your choice. And so I really like Libro FM a lot. My link is always down below if you want to join. I don't know, maybe I get a free audiobook or something. I don't know what happens, but regardless, look it up. I think it's a great program. So, or a great company, I guess, program, whatever. Okay, well, I'm rambling. My mom's inside with the kids. I'm not just like leaving them. So I should probably get inside though. Wish me luck, guys. 2 more days. Hey everyone, it is Thursday night and I am just coming to you because I just finished The Push by Ashley Aldrain, and I wanted to come to you guys before I write my review because I just have so many thoughts on this and I might just like verbal diarrhea on you right now. But so this book is about a woman named Blythe, and she is from kind of a long line of women who are mothers but don't really want to be and really shouldn't be. And so then when she has her first daughter, she just feels like something is wrong with this kid. She lacks a connection with her and she thinks the baby doesn't like her, and like there is just something off about this mother-daughter relationship. So the majority of it is in the timeline with Blythe, but we get some history of her grandmother as a mother and her mother as a mother. Her mother left her when she was, I think, like 11. So neither her grandmother nor her mother were good mothers. So then she has this baby and she's like, she married this very big family man. So she like didn't really know if she wanted to be a mom. And then she had this baby and she's lacking this connection, thinks something's wrong with her kid, thinks her kid doesn't like her. And as the little girl grows up, there's more and more reasons Blythe is thinking something is wrong with this child. So, the book is very heavy. What everybody says about it being heavy and hard to read is very, very, very true. However, I have heard some people say like this talks about the darker side of motherhood, and I don't really think it does. I think it definitely talks about your mama gut and your mother instincts and like how much you trust those. And what you do with that information about your kids based on your mama gut. But as far as like motherhood in general, I don't know that it makes any statements about that because this is a very extreme case of motherhood. I am not going to get into content warnings here, trigger warnings, because I think they're somewhat spoilery, but definitely if you've got any triggers around children or around motherhood, definitely look into those before you read this book, because it's chock full of them. There's tons. This is a very, very, very hard and heavy book. But so the biggest thing that I want to talk about though is the ending, because this is one of those books that the whole time, like I feel like tension is building and building and building. And I have read or talked to some other people who say they don't really like think it was very interesting. I, on the other hand, like could not put this book down. I thought it was so interesting. And I like did not want to stop reading because I felt that tension. And then the end happened and I was so underwhelmed. Like, you know, when there's like build up and build up and build up to something and then it just doesn't happen. That's where I'm like, this was really, really disappointing. And I've like just briefly got on Goodreads and saw everybody saying like the twist at the end shocked them. They didn't see it coming. And I'm like, what? Like, I totally saw this ending, like the ending. I don't want to say a whole lot because, I don't want to spoil anything, but I did not think the ending was at all shocking. Like, at all. I thought the ending was exactly like what I thought was happening the whole time. So, and that's not to toot my own horn, because I am not good at like knowing what's going on in things. So I really wanted there to be more to this story. And I can see the reasons why it was written the way it was, with the history and that kind of stuff. And I don't know though, guys. It felt like a lot of trauma for not a lot of like payout. Maybe. I don't know. Like, I just finished this book and I haven't had a whole lot of time to stew on it, but I think I'll probably give it 4 stars, because like I really enjoyed the reading experience. Like I said, it was she captured that tension so well, and she my heart hurt, and like at times I felt like physically ill reading this book. And not because it's super gory or gruesome. So if you don't like gory and gruesome, I wouldn't say it's super gory or gruesome. It's just the stuff that happens, and the amount of mental illness in this book is incredible. And it's not like great mental illness rep. There's no like diagnoses on page. There's just a lot of people with a lot of mental issues and things going on in this book. So, all that to say, I would recommend it, but I would say definitely tamper down your expectations for the ending, because I think this is a storyline I've heard before and seen in movies and that kind of stuff. So again, I'm going to stop talking about it because I don't want to be spoilery, and so many of my thoughts are about the end of this book. So if you've read it and want to talk more, message me. Put a comment down here, message me on Instagram, Voxer me if you've got that, because I don't know. I've been talking to Kelly from the Cozy Reader, Kelly, and she said she's like grateful that there's somebody else that's just like doesn't get the hype. And I get the hype because I think it was a really good, well-written, tense book. I just don't get like this exceptional ending that everybody's talking about. So, I don't know. But, and I also feel like there were some inconsistencies throughout the book that like leave me now, knowing what I know, feeling manipulated as a reader, because it was like really trying to lead you down one path, by having like the main character have inconsistencies in what they were saying. And then it was just inconsistencies. Like that didn't really go anywhere. The other thing that I think is cool about this book is it is written in second person. So I did not like You by Carolyn Kepnes. That I think is the only other book that I have read in second person. And so this one is told from Blythe's perspective, and she's talking to her husband. So she's saying like, you told me that this was going on, or you did this, or I told you this, and blah, 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 blah. And I really thought that format was cool. I really enjoyed that. So overall, good reading experience, bad ending, 4 stars. Hey everyone, it is Sunday, and summer has hit, you guys, which means my motivation has like disappeared. I had this whole to-do list for the weekend, and I have not done any of it, you guys, and it's Sunday at like 5 o'clock. So however, I have been reading some. I just haven't been doing really anything else, except like we went for a long walk today. My sister lives like a mile from me, and so we walked over there, and Ainsley walked the whole way, and then she lives like halfway in between us and Target, so then we walked on to Target and got a new blow-up pool, and then came home, and so that's really what we did a lot in the morning, because the 3-year-old pace is not fast. So yeah, today has just kind of flown by, and I said last week I was going to start ending these vlogs on Saturday, and here we are Sunday night. So let's just hope I can get this up by Monday. But I finished Big Summer by Jennifer Weiner, and I buddy read this with Tara from Buzzbird Books, and I don't know how I feel about it, you guys. So the first half is one book, and then something happens, and it is a completely different book the second half. And so like I was reading reviews, and people are like, oh my gosh, that twist, it was so awesome, blah 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 blah. And I agree. When the something happened halfway through, I was like, whoa, did not see that coming. However, and like I liked it. That was a cool thing to do, but then the whole second half of the book is a completely different tone, a completely different story, and it felt very abrupt and jarring to me. So the first half of this book is about Daphne. Daphne is a plus size Instagrammer influencer, and she got that like notoriety because she was like a crafter and had a small following, and then something happened where she was like in this kind of bar restaurant altercation thing. She lost touch, I guess you could say, with one of her best friends. Her best friend did something really crummy to her, because Daphne has always been kind of the insecure heavy girl, and Drew is her girl, like her female friend's name. And Drew is Miss Popular, definitely a mean girl, sometimes treated Daphne really great, sometimes treated her really terrible, and then this thing happened, and thankfully Daphne stood up for herself and kind of became, like, gained Instagram fame. So the first half of the book is talking about Daphne and her history with like body positivity and coming to accept herself, her kind of rise to fame through that incident, and then her history with Drew and their friendship and all of that. Then something happens and the book shifts and is completely what I would call a cozy mystery. There's a romance involved, but it's a whodunit. Somebody dies, and then Daphne is this amateur sleuth trying to figure out what happened. And it gets like super ridiculous in my opinion. And I think I'm really the unpopular opinion in saying this, but like there's tons of like secret babies that come up. There's tons of characters. There's like the murder in the first place very much could have looked like either an accidental death or a suicide. So I'm not really positive why they even investigated it, but they did. And like the cops felt like caricatures, not realistic. And I just was so bored. And like there were so many characters introduced in that second half of like, this person was this person's baby and never knew it and blah, 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 blah. And I thought the romance was by far the weakest part and actually should like not have been in there. And I don't know. I mean, I don't think we could have gotten more of the same, because even the first half started to feel kind of redundant because there was a lot of like, a lot of diet talk. So if diets or eating disorders or any of that are triggers for you, this book would be like terrible, because, the whole first half is Daphne talking about all the different diets she's done and things she's done to try to like manipulate her body. So I don't know, you guys. I think I'm giving this like 3.5 stars, but more like 3. I really like the writing style, as I do with Jennifer Weiner, but I just thought the twist made a really abrupt kind of right turn, and I wasn't really here for it. So I don't know. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. Yeah, now I'm going to go in, try to put all this vlog together, and Ainsley is going to go outside and swim. I think Jeremy's hopefully going to help her. Annie's still sleeping. Gonna make some dinner. Don't know what I'm going to make. You guys, this is summer Chloe. I'm just flying by the seat of my pants. So I don't know if you can hear all the yard work going on around me, but I'm going to stop, and we'll see you next week. So thanks for watching.